everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Bubbles and Berries podcast. My name is Ode, and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland. And we are joined today by my cat. This is Lily. She likes to make a little nest out of my cardigan. So yeah, she seems to have settled here for today, so she's going to be with us. Yeah. She's going to fall asleep very soon, probably. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. It's been about a month since my last episode, which is quite nice, given my recent history of not recording for a long time. I really wanted to try and do a podcast once a month. And yeah, I wasn't really sure, this morning I was thinking, am I really going to do it? I don't have that much to show, but at the same time, this is pretty typical of what I'm able to knit in a month. I don't have the kind of job where I can knit during meetings and things like that because I don't have meetings. So yeah, I really only knit outside of work hours, and I have other things that I do outside of work hours as well. So this is what I'm going to show today is pretty realistic in terms of what I knit in a month, and that's okay. If it's a shorter episode, that's also fine. So I don't need to just show tons and tons of things, and I also don't really want to wait until I have a lot of things to show and then I don't remember what I wanted to say about those things because I finished them so long ago. Anyway, a very long ramble just to say that yeah, not a lot to show today, but a few things still. And yeah, I'm excited to record this podcast. And I can't wait to show you what I've got. If you're new here, welcome. I think we've had quite a few new followers or subscribers, I guess it is on YouTube, since the last episode, so welcome. If you're new, I hope you will enjoy this episode, and then if you are a returning viewer, then welcome back. It is really lovely to have you here. I guess you know what you're in for if you clicked on this video, probably. This is a knitting podcast. I sometimes show some of my sewing, but I don't have any this time around. My sewing mojo has been a bit, it's just not really there right now, so I'm not sewing, which is fine. I don't really mind. And yeah, so I have some knitting to show you today, and I have some crochet. Nothing super exciting, but some crochet regardless. And yeah, let's just start. So we're going to start with what I'm wearing, which is also my only finished object that I have to show you today. And this is my April cardigan. I'm going to stand up quickly so you can see what it looks like full length, I guess. So this is what it looks like. Right, so it is the April cardigan by Petite Knit. I showed it in my previous episode because that was my only whip, and like I was saying, this was the only thing that I wanted to work on. I was not casting on anything else until I'd made some decent progress on that, because I really wanted to finish it and be able to wear it now that it's autumn, because as of my recording this, it's September 1st, and September 1st is autumn. We've had autumnal weather for pretty much all summer in Scotland, but it's official. It's autumn. I'm super excited. I love it. Yeah, favorite season. I know it's super cliche, but absolutely love autumn. And I'm so excited to have this new cardigan to wear now. So back to the item. Like I said, it is the April cardigan by Petite Knit. I knit mine in the size small. I think with Petite Knit, I'm usually in between extra small and small. And when it's a pattern that is designed to be quite oversized, which a lot of her patterns are, I usually go for the extra small. This one was a bit more you okay over there? All right, I guess she's gonna have a bath now, so yeah. This pattern was a bit more fitted and very cropped, and I wanted something with a bit more positive ease and a bit more comfy and cozy, and so I decided to go for the size small, which is great. I got gauge, and yeah, I'm very happy with the fit. The yarn that I used is Woolly Knit, a cone in the shade Cinnamon Brown. They're 100% British wool cones. I've had it for a long time. It is an amazing color. I absolutely love it. I think it's Yeah, it's one of their more popular one. Everyone really loves it. I'm gonna try and show you up close. It is the perfect autumnal, autumnal shade, like brown rust, like really pretty. And I held it double because it's a fingering weight. Bean, do you mind maybe not doing this on camera? Excuse me for a sec. Hi, maybe we don't do this right now, okay? Okay. All right. Go back to sleep. Oh, I don't usually let the cats in when I do my podcast because they're quite distracting, and I think I'm right because I'm very distracted. Anyway, going back to the cardigan, yeah. So I held the yarn double because it's a fingering weight yarn, and the pattern is written for DK. I used, I think, 4mm needles, which is what the pattern calls for, and yeah, I got gauged. It's just fine. Sorry, we got cut off. I don't know what happened. My phone, I don't know, did something, and then the cat wanted to go out. So yeah, we're back. I think I was talking about the modification that I made. I was about to start talking about that. So I think, like I said, the pattern is quite cropped in the way it's designed, and yeah, it was just too cropped for what I wanted. I think on the pattern, the idea is that you have this like long bit of ribbing at the bottom, and so the top of the ribbing is supposed to sort of hit you at the waist, and then you do the ribbing. And I don't know, it was just, it's nice, but it's not what I wanted for me and for this cardigan. So I lengthened the body by quite a bit, like I think maybe like 10 centimeters or something, which I'm really happy to have done that. It also meant, what that meant was that when I picked up for the button band, obviously I didn't really follow the stitch count that was in the pattern because I lengthened the body so much that I needed to pick up a lot of stitches. But I think she also had good information as to like how many stitches to pick per stitches that you already have on the cardigan. So I just did that, and yeah, it was fine, no problem at all. I also, the sleeves, I did them per pattern, and they turned out to be a bit too long. I think I have like shorter arms, or like shorter than average or whatever. So that means that they're too long for me. So like the sleeve kind of come like that on me, which is a bit long, but I've been folding just the ribbing and wearing it like this, and I kind of like it. I think it adds to like the cozy vibe of the cardigan or something. That wasn't planned, and it was a really good thing that I did a good job when I wove in my ends, my ends, because they're pretty invisible, because now the inside of the ribbing is the visible part. But yeah, so I got lucky there. And yeah, I'm not sure what else I have to say. It was a really fun pattern to knit. There's a lot of interest at the start with the shoulders. You have that shoulder detail here, kind of like a saddle shoulder, I think it is, and then you've got like one type of raglan going down, and then you have another type of raglan when you reach like under the arm, and then at the same time you have to do your increases to shape the V of the V-neck. And so yeah, it wasn't difficult at all. I wouldn't say it was difficult, but you do have to pay attention, and I use a lot of markers, like a lot of stitch markers, to remember where I was and when I needed to increase and all of this, and it worked just fine. So it was nice to start with. Like it was like interesting, and there were things to do and things to pay attention to, and then it was just like smooth sailing after that, just back and forth, stocking it, which was fine. Not the biggest fan of purling, but honestly it was completely okay in that case. I was also a bit concerned about like growing out and it showing, and it wasn't too bad actually. So I was quite happy. Like it seems that my tension, at least on like a big thing like a cardigan or something and bigger needles, it seems that my tension for knitting and purling is fine. It wasn't growing out really when I was knitting, and then in the little bits that might have been a bit uneven, it blocked out. So yeah, it's completely fine. Really happy with it, and it's making me feel more confident about like knitting more cardigan, which I think is maybe part of the reason why I haven't knit that many cardigans before, is because I was worried of rowing out, and it bothers me a bit when it's not like even-ish, you know. I don't want it to be absolutely perfect, but when we can clearly see the different rows and the difference in tension, it kind of bothers me a little bit. I was also pretty happy that my tension was very similar when I switched to knitting in the round for the sleeves, because I went from knitting flat on like, I think I have like the 4-inch Chagu needles on the cables, to doing the sleeves on the tiny circulars. So I was a bit concerned that my gauge would be different enough that it would show, but it didn't. Like it didn't even show when I was knitting, so it's not even something that blocking fixed, it just didn't show. So I'm really, really happy with that. I did a tubular bind off or Italian bind off. I don't know the difference between the two. I did the one where you don't have to do any like preparation rounds or something, I don't know. But yeah, so I did one of those ribbings for everything. So for the hem, which like took a bit of time, and then for the cuffs, which doesn't take much time, and for the button bands, which takes forever. But it's okay, I don't mind it actually. I find it quite soothing. I also have done it enough that I can like stop and start again without having to like, without worrying that I won't remember where I'm at and how I'm gonna like pick it up and all that. So yeah, I really don't mind. I think one thing that I was mentioning maybe the last time is that my only issue with those kinds of bind off is that like, it feels like you have to plan for how much yarn you're gonna need to do it, and oftentimes this means like meters and meters and meters of yarn that you have to pull through every stitch every time you get your needle through. And yeah, like it bothered me, or it used to bother me. What I've been doing now or lately is that I've just been doing it like cutting smaller bits of yarn, like long enough that I don't have to like add another bit too often, but like short enough that I don't have to pull like I don't know how much yarn through each stitch. And that worked really great. All it means is that, well, when I run out, I need to start with a new yarn. So it can mean that you would have a couple more ends to weave in, which I guess is fine. On this particular yarn, like woolly knit is really good for split splicing, which is what I did. I did throughout my cardigan when I needed to change skeins, and I also did for the bind off. And it worked really fine. Like I would just like you know, split splice the two ends together. I was thin enough that I would go through the eye of the needle just fine, and then go through the stitches just fine. And yeah, it was great. And that meant no extra ends to weave in at the end. And yeah, it was brilliant. You may notice that it doesn't have buttons yet. So I have buttonholes. I don't remember if I started on the button band the last time, but I think I mentioned that I wasn't maybe too sure because I lengthened the body, if I was going to need to do an extra buttonhole, and it turned out that I didn't need to, or I don't feel the need to. I rarely button my cardigans anyway, but I still did the buttonholes just because. So I've got 4, and now I need to get buttons. I don't have buttons right now in my stash that I like. I mean, I have some, but they're not the best. So if I don't find anything better, I'll use those. But I'm going to Perth next weekend, the Scottish Wool Festival. And so I think, or Scottish Yarn Festival. And I think I'm going to look for buttons here. I'm pretty sure like there's so many vendors. I'm pretty sure someone is going to have some nice buttons. I'm looking for something kind of simple, just like some simple round wooden button. I don't want like any glittery bits and gemstones and whatever. So yeah, I'm thinking either some nice simple wooden buttons, or maybe like silvery simple buttons. I'm not gonna bring the the cardigan with me, but I'm gonna bring my swatch so that I can see how it looks on the fabric. And yeah, hopefully I'll find something then, and if not, I'll just look somewhere else. But yeah, I like it. I like that cardigan a lot. It's really nice. I could see myself making another one. I think I have lots of other cardigan patterns that I really like and that I want to knit, but that is definitely one that, like, if I wanted to make a simple V-neck cardigan, that is a really good pattern for it. I think the fit is really nice, and yeah, I would recommend. If you want to see other versions, I think Venetia of the Woolly Worker podcast made a version earlier this year. It would be in like maybe some of her first few episodes that you could see it. I think in sort of like a creamy camel kind of neutral color. And then also Lily of Hester and Lark podcast, a really, really nice podcast. She's quite new. I think she's got like 3 or 4 episodes maybe, but would highly recommend. She just finished one in like a really fun green color, and she combined like a yarn, I don't remember the base, and then a fluff that are kind of 2 different colors, but then when she put them together, it made this really, really lovely fabric. And yeah, so I would recommend like you have a look at their podcast, first of all, because they're a great podcast, but also if you want to see different versions of the April cardigan, then you could check them out as well. I think that's all I had to say about this one. Oh no, I think one thing is that I think I made the buttonholes on the other side compared to like what the pattern was saying or something. I don't know. I don't really care. There's just one side or the other. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to have buttons on that, and then I think I will wear it a lot now. Like it's gotten quite, not cold, but like quite chilly in the mornings. So I think it'll be like a really nice thing to wear. It's a bit too warm still for big sweaters, but cardigans are great. And I wasn't really sure what to wear underneath, but I've just got a black t-shirt right now, and I think it's fine. Maybe I could find something similar in white. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. So that was my only finished object, and so happy that it's finished. So I'm gonna move on to works in progress, but I'm gonna have some tea now because I think it's gone cold. And yeah, it's gotta have been cold already. Never mind. All right, finished object. I've got 3. I've got 2 knitting and 1 crochet. I'm gonna start with the one that is taking up all of my knitting time at the moment. I'm completely obsessed with this pattern. I love it so much. It's so nice to knit. And yeah, I just like, I was almost like, I was happy last night because this particular project has gone so big now that I can't really take it out. So I had to take my other whip to knit night, and that kind of like forced me to make progress on the other whip, because otherwise I'm just not knitting on anything but that. And what I'm talking about is the Stripe Hype sweater by Veronica Lindberg, I think. She goes by Ktova Kika on Instagram and YouTube. I think she has a YouTube channel as well. And it is this, well, I'll put a picture of the original pattern so you can like see what it looks like. And this is my version. So I'm working on the body right now. And yeah, it looks like this. Really love it. It is a, as you can guess probably, it is a drop shoulder construction. You cast on all the stitches at the back, and then you knit back and forth down like to the bottom of the armhole, and then you knit like 1 front, 2 fronts. You join them at the neck, and then you join them to the back at the armhole, and then you just knit it around. So yeah, I love it. It's so like, they do say that like knitting stripes is addictive, and yeah, it is. It really is. The stripes are also like not super big, so it's easy, like you can really do a stripe quite like fairly quickly. And yeah, what to start with? So the pattern, like I said, is the Stripe Hype sweater. I am making the size medium. I kind of had to look through the sizes, and then I like it on those patterns when they tell you the bust measurement of the designer or the person who's modeling it in the picture and the size that they are wearing, because it gives you a sense of like fit, right? And so it turned out that the designer, she's got about the same bust circumference as me, and I liked the way it fit on her. So I was like, I'm gonna do, like, she was wearing a medium size, and I'm gonna do medium size as well. So I did that. I didn't swatch, and I think my gauge is off, and I think it's gonna be bigger than it's supposed to be, which I am fine with, but I'm still waiting to see. So let me explain. So this is what I have right now. This is wider here. The reason why I didn't swatch is because some of the yarns that I use I'll go back to all the yarns that I'm using, but especially this one is like, it's the leftover from my cardigan, right? And so I just knit on that. I knew what my gauge was on that. The size needles for that and for this are the same. So I was like, okay, my gauge is fine. I don't need to swatch. The thing is that beige yarn is like very slightly thicker, and I think that's like throwing off my gauge a bit. But yeah, I don't mind. I think it's gonna be okay. I don't mind it to be, if it's wider, especially for drop shoulders. I think I have like a bit wider shoulders, so a drop shoulder that's on like the pattern pictures or whatever the shoulder is gonna come down here. For me, it usually comes a bit higher up, and the fit is a bit awkward. So I think if it is wider, that's not a problem, quite the contrary. I'm a bit concerned about length, because I've just started like one yellow stripe. I have to do 2 more yellow stripes. After the last yellow stripes, you're supposed to do one of the neutral stripes and then do 10 centimeters of ribbing. That is going to be too big. I know that that's going to be too long, and I don't want it to be that long. So I'm going to see, as the pattern recommends, it says do your last 3 colored stripes, and then before doing the last neutral stripe, try it on, see where you're at, and then if you want it shorter, don't do that last neutral stripe and go straight into the ribbing. If you want it longer, then maybe make that last stripe a bit longer and then go into the ribbing. So I'm going to see where I get after I've done the last yellow stripe. I think I'm going to, no matter what, I think I'm going to do the ribbing shorter, because 10 centimeters seems quite long. So I think I'm going to do maybe like 5 or 6, and then I'll see if I do that last neutral stripe. What I'm going to do as well is that I'm going to knit the body down to the last yellow stripe, and then I'm going to do the neckline, or like the collar bit, and I'm going to do the sleeves, because based on the pattern, like, you pick up stitches for all of this, but the pattern says like you're not picking up 1 stitch per stitch that you already have, you're picking up less stitches than what you have on your edges here. So that tells me that's probably going to like pull it in, or like pull it up a little bit at the arms and at the neck, which is going to, I'm assuming, affect the length of the sweater. So yeah, I'm going to do, it's easier because you're cutting your yarn after every stripe, so it's not like I'm going to cut yarn in a place where it's kind of silly to cut it or whatever. So I'm just going to do like the last, like down to the 3rd yellow stripe, cut my yarn there, and then do everything else, and then I will try it on and finish the body based on how it fits. Yeah, the body, the pattern, on the pattern, well, wait, I'm just going to talk about the yarn now, and then I'll go back to that. The yarn that I'm using, so you can use whatever you want, obviously, like people have made it in all sorts of color combination, and it all looks really nice. It is a great way to use stash that you might have left over, because while you do need a fair amount of your neutral color, each of the other colors, which I'm doing as per pattern, so I'm doing like 3 stripes of each. I think for the body, it recommends, in my size anyway, about like 50 grams of each color, and then 40 grams for the colors that you're going to use on the sleeves, which I think is like, after like making a jumper or something, it's not unusual to have about 50 grams of yarn left. So I think that's really nice in that way. Obviously you can do it however you want, but anyway, so let's talk about the yarn. The neutral yarn that I have is, I'm using only yarn that I already have in my stash, And I'm using only actually cones or yarn that were on cones. Just, it's a coincidence, I didn't do that on purpose. But the neutral yarn is this yarn. It is from a big 1 kilo cone of yarn that I've shown previously. It's called, it's from a place called Laine Paysanne. They're a French yarn place in the mountains by the border with Spain. And it is this lovely color. It's called Grège, I guess, like gray beige. And yeah, it's a bit heathered. It's a nice beige, it's neutral, but has a bit of interest, and I really, really like it. So I'm holding this double. All of my yarns are fingering weight. The pattern calls for DK, so I'm holding everything double. So this is the neutral one. I've done a bit of a silly thing, is that I didn't weigh my cakes or my balls before I started knitting. So I don't know exactly how much yarn I'm using for this sweater, but oh well. The dark rust brown color here is woolly knit British wool, 100% British wool in the shade cinnamon brown. It's the same as my April cardigans, what I have left over. I mean, I'm still gonna have some left over afterwards, but I did use quite a bit, which is nice. So really love that. It's also like all the colors are a bit heathered, so I think they go really well together. This orange, lovely orange one is, if you've been here for a long time, you might recognize it. It's the yarn that I used for my very first jumper. It's Jamieson and Smith. It's a cone of Jamieson and Smith in the shade 1285, and I made a like no frills by Petite Knit in that color. It's really, really pretty as well. I'm going to show you, like, it has a lot of depth. So yeah, so that's my second color. And then my third color that I'm using for the body is this kind of like golden, like greenish yellow kind of color. And also is a bit heathered. And this is another woolly knit British wool cone in the colorway Harvest. So yeah, really, really liking it. So I think all those three for the body look really nice together. Very autumnal, very pretty. And then for the sleeves, so on the pattern she has 2 colors. So the sleeves have 6 stripes each, and 3 in one color at the top and 3 in one color at the bottom. And I am going to be using these 2. So at the top I'm going to be using this. This is once again woolly knit British wool. That's the color Loden Green. I used it to make another sweater in the past, and I have some left over, so it's going to be that. And then the bottom 3 stripes on the sleeves are going to be this. This is once again a woolly knit cone that I haven't used just yet. And yeah, I guess this is the most representative. It is a lighter green. It's called Dark Apple. And yeah, so the sleeves are going to be like this. And then, I don't know, can I hold everything together? Maybe? Yeah, there we go. It's kind of strange, but you get a sense. So that's going to be the color palette for this sweater, which I'm really excited about. I think it looks so nice. It's definitely my colors, very autumnal, and yeah, I'm super excited to keep knitting on that. And yeah, I'm going on vacation at the end of September, and I'm hoping to have it finished because it's going to be the perfect cozy sweater for where I'm going. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Oh no, it's not. Like, I interrupted myself earlier. So yeah, something else about this pattern is that, first of all, the ribbing for the neckline, the cuffs, and the body is twisted rib. I'm not going to do twisted rib. I do love twisted rib. I love the way it looks. I don't mind knitting it. I'm just going for a very like oversized, comfy, cozy vibe. And to me, regular rib is, I don't know, it's silly, but it feels more cozy than twisted rib. Twisted rib feels a bit more chic and sophisticated. I don't know. That's just how it feels to me. It's very weird. So yeah, I'm just going to do like, I think this is much like squishier and cozier in my opinion. So I'm going to do regular rib. And also in the pattern, at the sleeves and at the the neckline, there's a very, very thin, like maybe a couple of rows, a border at the end of the ribbing, in one of the colors that you've used. So I think if I go by what, you can do whatever you want, but if I go by what the pattern says, that little line of color at the neckline would be the dark green for me, and then it would be that dark, like rust cinnamon color at the cuffs. I honestly, I don't know if I like it so much, and so I've decided to just do the ribbing just plain, just a beige neutral color, and not add that pop of color at the top. And I think, yeah, I'm also debating whether I do a double folded neckline color, so I don't know. I might do whatever length I'm supposed to do, see how it looks, see how I like it, and then decide whether I bind off or go on and do a double folded. I think double folded, or not double folded, just folded. I think a folded neckline looks kind of nice and cozy, but like has a bit more of a cozy factor than a simple one, but it might also be a bit too bulky or chunky, or I might just get tired of knitting ribbing, to be honest, so we'll see. But yeah, I think it will look very nice, and I'm very excited. I've been very good. I've been weaving in my ends as I went, so as of now I don't even have any ends to weave in. Oh no, I do just the last time I changed colors, but I've been weaving my ends. I really like the technique she suggests to do to avoid jogs when you change colors, because this is my beginning of row. I've got my little pumpkin stitch marker, which I think fits the theme very well, and yeah, this is the beginning of row, and I don't think you can really tell where I changed color. It's quite smooth, and I really like it. It's really nice. So yeah, I'm not sure, like I kind of want to say how she says to do it, but I don't know if it's like her way of doing it. I haven't seen it in any other patterns, but I've also not done a million stripes, so yeah, I'm maybe not going to say her method, because I don't know, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, there are plenty of ways to do that, and yeah, just find whichever one you like best. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. This is the Stripe Hype Sweater by Veronica Lindberg, or Ktova Kika on Instagram. And if you look up the hashtag Stripe Hype Sweater, you'll see like there's a million different versions, and they're also beautiful, all kinds of different yarns as well. Yeah, my color palette was very much inspired by the podcaster Marlene Knits. She's a German podcaster, really lovely podcast. I love her aesthetic. It's very like neutral and beige, and it's really pretty. And her projects are so nice. Her podcast is really lovely. So again, another podcast for you to watch if you're looking for some new things to watch. Highly recommend. And she had made one, I think, in like Olivia and Oliver yarn, in like similar earthy tones. So yeah, I think Olivia and Oliver is maybe like kind of like superwash yarn, so it would be like very soft and flowy. Mine is definitely quite rustic, but I don't mind. I love it. Also, because I haven't swatched, I don't know how this is going to block. Obviously I've used all the colors of the stripes before, so I know how that blocks. I haven't used the beige one for anything else yet, so that's going to be a surprise. But I mean, it's very like, it's like rustic yarn. Like I think it's, if anything, it's going to bloom, but it's not going to grow or anything. Like I would be very surprised if it grew, or if it like changed shape like drastically or anything like that. So yeah, that is it for this sweater, and I'm loving knitting on it, and that's all I want to knit on. And it will probably be finished and on me the next time I record a podcast. Moving on to work in progress number 2, and it is a pair of socks. I was mentioning it in the last episode that I was trying out, I was on this little fun project to try out no like natural sock yarn, like no nylon, non-superwash sock yarn. And this is, oh, hold on, let me just grab the ball band so I can give you the details. Right, and so this is what I'm working on right now. So the pattern that I'm using for these socks is the Florist Shorties sock pattern by Lindsay Fowler. It is, as you know in the name, a shorty sock pattern, but I don't really wear shorty socks, so I'm making it a full length pattern. It's knit top down, so it's very easy to adjust. You just knit and then you do the heel later. So I have one leg done, and then the start of a leg as well. And then when I finish that leg, I'll do both heels and then both feet and both toes. And so this is what it kind of looks like. I'm not entirely sure this is the best yarn for this pattern, but at the same time, I like it, so I don't care. But so it is a folded cuff with the picot edging, really fun. I don't think I've ever done that on socks, so, but it's quite stretchy, so it should be fine. I'm not too concerned that it's not going to fit. And then this is what the leg looks like. So you have, I think it's meant to look like lavender blooms, you know, and then you have the stems. So yeah, so technically this is supposed to be like, you're supposed to do the cuff and then you go straight into the heel flap and gusset, and all of this is on the top of your foot if you do it in the shorty way, which is the pattern, how it's written. But I've done all of the chart to the end of that last like little thing of flowers, of blooms, to like, that was a good leg length for me. So I did that, and now I'm gonna do the heel, and then I'm just gonna continue the stems like all the way down to the toe, and that's how it's gonna look on me. So yeah, the pattern is also really nice because it's written, you've got well, you've actually got 4 charts because the pattern is 2 in 1. It's either like this where you have like, I think it's like 5 little like stitches here to make the lavender sprigs, I guess. You also have it with just the one, and then you go straight into the stem. And then the pattern, like each version has two charts where like it's mirrored, so that like, yeah, the socks are mirrored, you know, you have like the top one on the outside of your foot, and then it goes down like this. So that's making it really easy. And yeah, it's been really fun to knit. I got the yarn, oh, I'm a bit all over the place today. So the yarn is yarn by, let me get the paper for you, by El Robledao de la Senta. It's Spanish, my Spanish is terrible. This is what it looks like. And it is their merino, or I think mohairino blend, which is 50% Spanish mohair, 40% Spanish white merino, and 10% Spanish black merino, which is why you have that, like, you can see it's a bit heathered, like you can see the base is not like just plain beige. And the colorway is called Zarza Rosa, and it is this lovely pink color. And the reason I got this yarn, because like I said, I tend to usually get British yarn, just, you know, because there's so many, and it's really nice and it's easy to get in the UK. But the reason I got this Spanish yarn is because it was a collaboration that I did with Making Stories back in April, where Making Stories does, I think 3 or 4 times a year, a sock box where they have a kind of natural sock yarn from somewhere in the world, and then they also have a set of stitch marker, again from a maker somewhere in the world, like from all over the place. They're just really good at finding like really nice things from a bit of all over the world. And then a little surprise in the box. And so in April, I was the one making the stitch markers. And so after doing that, Annalisa, who runs Making Stories, very kindly gifted me the yarn that was in that box so I could try it out for myself. So this is how I came to have Spanish yarn. I'm using the markers that I made for this sock box because it only seems right. I've got this one, I called that set Cherry Blossom. So there's this one, there's this one, and then there's a third one that I don't have right now, which is the full bloom, like full flower. These are available in my shop now if you wanted to grab them. But yeah, it's been really fun. I really like it because I don't think it's yarn that I probably would have used otherwise, or like, I don't know, I'm not sure that it's sold in the UK, so I don't know if I would have come across it. And it's also a color that, like, I don't usually do pinks, like it's not usually my color, but I like to use any kind of colors for socks, and that is a really, really beautiful pink. So yeah, very happy, very nice to knit with. I think it's going to be very warm as well because it's got mohair, it's 50% mohair, so yeah, we'll see. One of the yarns that I used before in my little like natural sock yarn series was also mohair. It was from Anfield Farm in Fife. It was those like whitish, like cream socks that I showed last time, I think. And it has a higher mohair content. I think it was 70%. And you can really tell the difference. Like they have that like fluff a lot more than these. And I think these, like, it's really nice. It's really warm, but it's also like the strand is quite, like, you don't have fluff everywhere when you knit with that, which is quite nice as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing those, and yeah, it will be one more sock to add to my collection. I think I'm doing the second size. I don't know if I said that, but the pattern has also 4 sizes of socks, and I'm doing the second, which is like 64, I think, which is my usual circumference of like stitches when I do socks. I also always feel like, I don't know if that happens to you, like when you knit like this, like to me, like that seems so wide, and I'm like, this is just going to be too big, there's no way. And I've had that like happen with a lot of the socks that I've knit lately. I was like, there's no way, this is so wide, it's just going to be too big. And then I put it on my foot and it's just fine. So I don't know, I think my brain is playing tricks on me. But yeah, I'm gonna move on. So hopefully this will be done by the next time I podcast, and I will be able to show you the full pair of socks. Moving on to my third and last work in progress, which is crochet. So if you've been here a long time, you know that I know how to crochet, but I don't crochet a lot at all. And the thing that I am making, that I'm crocheting, is a Battenberg blanket. I'll put the picture here. It's been in my Ravelry for so long. I think it's one of the first few patterns that I saved into my favorites. And it's just, yeah, I've been wanting to do it. I didn't really have, like, I thought, oh, that would be a great way to use scraps, which it is, obviously. But the scraps that I wanted to use for that were, like, my leftover yarn from, like Superwash, like 75-25 sock yarn that I have a lot of. Like, I still really enjoy using that. And I was like, I'm going to use all of this because they're all kind of different, brighter colors. I'm going to use all this and make a Battenberg blanket. But at the same time, like, I couldn't really see that kind of colorful thing in my house. Like, it didn't really match with the rest of the stuff that I had. But then earlier this month, or like in early August, my husband and I bought a car, which I'm really excited about because that means we're going to be able to explore so much more of Scotland. We love hiking and all of this, so it's going to give us access to so many more places. And then I thought I could make a blanket for the car, just to have in the car, like when it gets chilly or something. And so yeah, I'm making this Battenberg blanket for the car. The car name is Maggie, by the way. So Maggie's gonna have her own blanket. I haven't made very much. It's really like it's never like a priority project for me. So it's gonna get done what's gonna get done. Hopefully we still have the car by the time it gets done. But yeah, this is all I've made so far. So you make those little colorful squares, and then you do the cream squares like and join as you go. So you have to make all the colorful squares first, which is quite nice because then you can sort of lay them down and plan where you want the colors to go. And so yeah, so I've used a tiny ball of, this is Coop Knit sock fingering weight sock yarn. So I had like a little bit, like maybe like 10 grams or 15 grams left after making socks. So I made a bunch of little squares, and then now this, I don't remember what this yarn is. I think it's maybe botanical yarn, like a mini that I had at some point. I used some for a heel and I have some leftovers, so I made this one square, and I think out of this I have enough to make 2 more squares. I need to weave in the ends too as I go, otherwise I'm never going to do it. And yeah, it's really easy. Like the squares are really easy, really quick to make. I'm using a crochet hook, like a 3mm. That's what the patterns say. I didn't swatch, so, but it's fine. It's looking fine. As long as they're all pretty much the same size, that's fine. The only modification that I made is that in the pattern, so I don't know if you can see, but you've got like one round here where you start, and then you have another one, a third one, and a fourth one. The pattern only does 3, so the squares like would be even smaller. I decided to do 4 just to use up a bit more yarn and to, I guess, make it grow a bit faster. So yeah, so I don't know if I'll show you this in every podcast, because I think it's going to take a few months for me to make and to finish it. I'm gonna use I'm also not doing like a full size blanket, because I think in the pattern it's like a king size blanket and there's over 1,000 squares. Like I'm not doing this, I'm doing like a lap blanket or something like that. I'm gonna run through all the scraps that I have, and then I'm gonna see if there's like, I'm gonna try and arrange them, and I'm gonna see if there's like some color missing, or I need like a bit more yellow here or whatever. I'll just open up a skein of yarn that I have, because I think I'm using like 2 grams for a square, so it's not like if I take 2 grams out of a full skein, I'm still not likely to run out of yarn or have to play yarn chicken in the future. And then I will buy the neutral, like the white yarn, because I don't really have anything. I want like a same like Superwash merino, or like 75-25 or something similar, so that I can toss everything in the wash and all the yarns sort of like behave the same way. I think in the pattern she uses like drops merino, or like one of the drops yarn, so I might do that. But I don't know, we'll see when I get there. Yeah, we're going on a trip soon, so I might take that on the plane and leave my knitting in the checked luggage, so I don't have to worry about needles, although I've never had a problem, but you never know. But I feel like a crochet hook is less risk, I guess, than knitting needles, and I might make some progress. Like I can make quite a few squares on the flight, I think. And then yeah, my dad is coming to visit in October, and he crochets, so I might recruit him to and ask him to make some squares for me if he doesn't bring like any project with him. And yeah, it will be done when it is done. But it's been really fun. It's nice to do a bit of crochet sometimes, and I've been enjoying it. Right, that is the last of my works in progress. This is all I've been working on these days, and it's been keeping me busy, it's been keeping me happy, so it's good. That's all I want from my knitting and my crafting. I have a couple of acquisitions to show you, so I'm gonna move on to acquisitions now. I'm gonna drink the last of my very cold tea. Cheers. Yep, not good when it's cold. Doesn't matter. All right, acquisitions. So I wasn't planning to buy anything in August because, like I said, I'm going to the Scottish Yarn Festival next week, so I wanted to save my monies for that. And I'm also, at the end of the month, I'm going on a vacation to Shetland, and obviously I'm gonna buy yarn there. You know I am. Like who? And it's at the same time as, well, not at the same time, but it so happened, what a coincidence, not, that we were going on vacation at the same time as Shetland Wool Week. So yeah, I will buy some yarn there. So I wasn't planning to buy anything in August, but one of you made me buy something, and it's your fault, and I'm very happy with what I got. So It has to do with my natural sock yarn project, and I was talking about it last time, and one person left a comment below saying, have you, something along the lines of like, have you thought of this specific yarn is really great for socks? And I was like, I have not. I know them and I've seen them around. I've just never really thought to look there for sock yarn because they don't have anything labeled as like suitable for socks, I guess, or I don't know. I just didn't think of it. And so the yarn in question is this. It's the Dalton Border Leicester 100% wool fingering weight. Ooh, I can't read anything. There we go. Fingering weight yarn, worsted spun for reply. So Border Leicester, I think, is the type of sheep, and Dalton is where the place is located. It's in Yorkshire, and it's a really cool farm because they have the sheep there just to live out their lives. Like they're never gonna, like they're not sending them to be like butchered or anything like that. They just keep the sheep and let them live out their lives in beautiful fields, and then they just get the yarn and just get the wool and make yarn out of it. So it says, yeah, from sheep that live to grow old, which is really good. It's really fun. I absolutely love it. 100% support that kind of like farming and approach to things. And yeah, so the kind of the fleece, the breed of sheep, it's called Border Leicester, and apparently it's very sturdy. I think it's considered a rare breed, but it is apparently very sturdy for socks. Or that person told me that in her comment, and I was like, interesting. And then I went online, looked it up, and I've seen other people say the same. So I had to get one to try out, and so I got this lovely sage color. They also had a chocolate brown that I really liked, and I couldn't decide, so I did a poll on Instagram, and people voted for the sage green, so thank you for making my life easier. It is called Farndale, I think that's the name of the colorway, and it is 300 meters per 100 gram, which is, I find those natural sock yarn tend to run along that, like 350, 360, like it's a bit thicker. It says to use on 3mm needle. I might still do on 2.5. I might cast on less stitches. But this thing is going to be quite thick, but we'll see. I'm excited to see how it behaves. I'm excited to see how it wears. And obviously I will include it into I'll make a recap video of my like experience with non-superwash, like natural sock yarn. And yeah, we'll see. It's really fun. It's really lovely. And I can't wait to knit with it. I haven't decided on a pattern for that, but we'll see when we get there. The other thing that I wanted to show you is not an acquisition, but it is related, and it's something that I've had in my stash for a very long time. So like I said, when someone mentioned that yarn, I went and looked it up on Google and see like if other people had talked about it, had advice, reviews, whatever. And I ended up on that blog post where this woman was trying all sorts of natural yarns from the UK and sort of talking about her experience. I was like, that's great, like that's gonna be more places for me to try. Unfortunately, most of them are closed. I think that blog post was from before COVID, and yeah, a lot of them were closed, but this one was on it, so good. And another one was this yarn by Blacker Yarn that she'd used for socks. Is their Tamar 4-ply, and I had this just one single skein in my stash. I think I bought it like at least a year or two ago on a D-stash. It's just the one single skein because I absolutely love that like teal color. I just don't know what to do with it. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's great. I'm going to try it for socks. And yeah, hopefully it works out. Again, on that blog post, that woman was saying like she's really, really hard wearing on her socks, which I am not. And if they've worn so well for her, then it's probably going to wear really well for me as well. So yeah, it's a Tamar 4-ply luster blend. They have it in DK as well. I've used it for a jumper in DK, and it's still a base that they sell. I really like Blacker Yarn. They make really, really lovely yarn. And yeah, what are the specs of that? 315 meters per 100 grams. So yeah, I guess this one is a bit thick. I wonder if I should do more like DK socks on that. I don't know. Or like, I guess sport. Maybe I can find patterns for like sport weight yarn. Need to think. So yeah, so not really an acquisition. I mean, it's something that I pulled out from stash, but that is going to go into my little basket of natural sock yarn to try. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted. I'm mildly concerned that this one, because it's such a deep blue, that is going to bleed. So I am going to definitely wash it by itself, first of all. But keep it getting glamorous. I have very sweaty feet. So, and I wear like white, like I wear like cotton shorty socks under my woolen socks. And so I think I might wear black shorties underneath, because I feel like if I wear white shorties, wear those and sweat, then it's going to stain my socks, my white socks. I'm also mildly concerned that it's going to stain my slippers. So we'll see. I think I will look it up and do like all the things that they tell you to do if you have yarn that bleeds, like when you wash it, like add vinegar. I might add one of those color catching things as well. I might rinse it a few times and all of that, but we'll see. Just a slight, not really concerned, just something to keep in mind, I guess. But yeah, and yeah, that's all the acquisitions that I have. I'll have a lot more next time, obviously, because like I said, I'm going away. I'm going to a festival, but yeah, I think that's all the knitting crochet content that I've got for you today. Shop news, my autumn collection was released. I showed it to you the last time. It was released last week, but all the bags are sold out for now, so I'm going to be spending the next 2 weeks working on that before I restock more. And yeah, I've been making plenty of stitch markers. There's still lots of stitch markers available in the shop if that's ever something you're interested in. And yeah, things are going well with work. I'm busy, which is good. And I've just finished all the Advent stitch markers that I'm making. I was telling you that I was working with someone to make stitch markers for their Advent calendar. So that is all done, which is good, because that was a lot of work. So I'm glad that this is done. And yeah, I have a few wholesale orders as well that I'm working on, and of course a lot of individual orders from you guys or people who follow me on Instagram and all of this. So yeah, really excited about that. As always, super grateful for your orders. Like that, it's because of you that I can run my shop and do this job. So yeah, really grateful. What else? Life update, like life is fine again, like busy. I'm happy, like work is good. Like I'm happy with my work. I am like, otherwise it's been like pretty calm and quiet. A lot of knitting. Now that we have a car, we've been exploring the area a bit more, which has been really nice. Got exciting things coming up over the next couple of months. Going to Perth, like I said, a couple of times already. Next weekend for the Scottish Yarn Festival. I'm going to be there on the Saturday. So if you're there and you see me, feel free to come and say hi. It'll be nice to see you there. I don't have any plans of what I want to buy other than like maybe buttons for my cardigan. But I need to have a close look at who's going to be vending, because there's a few, like I know US Tool I think is going to be there, which I'm really excited about, because I have never seen I know of them, but I've never seen them like touch their wool in person. So I'm looking forward to that. And then yeah, I need to have a look at who's there and sort of make a plan of who I want to make sure that I go and see, and also maybe like make a list of a couple of patterns that I would like to knit, just so I know if I decide to buy something, sort of the quantity that I need to get. So that will be very exciting. And then towards the end of the month, my husband and I are going to Shetland for a week. We're taking our summer holiday, summer vacation, because we haven't been anywhere this summer. And yeah, I'm really excited about that. We do need the break. I think it's going to be nice to have a bit of a break and a bit of a like time off, a proper vacation. I'm going to close the shop while I'm away and really like disconnect and visit this absolutely beautiful place. I'm so excited. It looks absolutely amazing over there. Like the scenery, Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so good. And then in October, my family is going to be visiting. My dad and my sister are going to be here for a little bit, so that's going to be fun. There's also Glasgow School of Yarn in October, where I'm not vending. I don't do shows or festivals, but I'm going to be going as a visitor, and I'm going to bring my dad and my sister along, so that's going to be really fun. And yeah, and then I don't know, we'll see what happens after that. It's too far away to think about it. And yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. I'm not going to keep on rambling. I thank you for watching. If you watched until the end, or if you watched at all, like, thank you very much. As always, leave a like, a comment, or subscribe if you're not subscribed already, because that really helps our channels. And I will see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.